everyone. Thank you again for joining us today. My name is Lincoln Till, and I'm the Assistant Director for Orientation in the college. Thank you again for joining us for our summer webinar series. Today, we will be talking all about pre-registration and how you can work with your academic advisor to best set up your fall quarter classes and get pre-registered for those. We have representatives from our college academic advising office and the registrar here to help out today. So I will go ahead and pass it over to our college academic advising office. Oh, and if you have questions, sorry, we will be doing Q&A at the end of the presentation. So feel free, there's a question and answer box at the bottom. Submit your questions throughout as you have them. And we'll be sure to either answer them in the chat or live at the end. So yeah, don't forget about that. And then I will go ahead and pass it over.
Thanks, Lincoln. Welcome, everyone, to the Autumn Pre-Registration webinar, the last of the webinars from the College Academic Advising Office this summer. Our office is grateful to co-present today's webinar with the Office of the Registrar, which stewards student data, academic systems, and classrooms for the UChicago community. So I'm Shayna Beamer, Senior Academic Advisor, and I'm joined by my colleague, Academic Advisor Justin Pugh. We are fortunate to also have the Associate University Registrar, Emily Ho, presenting with us today. Our presentation will offer an introduction to the undergraduate registration processes here at UChicago. We will review where to find and how to interpret your placement test results, discuss steps that you can take to prepare for pre-registration, and we will end with a live demonstration of the pre-registration system that you will have access to next week from the 18th through the 22nd. During the presentation, we will be moderating the chat function to aggregate and respond to your questions, which we will answer out loud at the conclusion of the presentation. Please keep your questions to the topic of the webinar. If you have other questions you would like to ask the advising office, please email your assigned advisor following the presentation. As we get started, I would like to quickly share our learning outcomes for our time together. By viewing this webinar today, you will be able to describe the two-phase registration process, locate and interpret placement test results in your UChicago portal, outline how to prepare for pre-registration, and navigate the pre-registration process and system screens in your UChicago portal. So what is pre-registration? The registration process at UChicago involves two phases, pre-registration and add drop. During pre-registration, students select and rank their preferred courses for each quarter of enrollment. Then an algorithm is run in the registration system to maximize their top choices based on several factors, including year in school and spot in ranking, to create the student's schedule. The algorithm prioritizes first and second year students for core courses, so you will have a higher priority for these courses than older students during your first 2 years. Alternatively, older students will have preference for major courses like computer science and economics, so it may be more difficult to get into these courses in your first quarter, but there's plenty of time to get into the courses beyond the core in your first year and beyond. Pre-registration is not first come, first serve, so there's no advantage to getting it done right at 9 a.m. If you change your mind about your selections during the pre-registration week, you can go back in and update your rankings as many times as you'd like. While pre-reg is not designed for students to get everything they want, it does allow the college to place a high number of students in high demand courses before the second phase of registration. The second phase of the registration process is called add drop. During this phase, students make changes to their schedule in real time, meaning it is first come, first serve. The time leading up to the end of the first week of the quarter is known as the open add period. During this time, if a spot is open, students can add themselves to a course if they meet the course requirements. After the first week ends, instructor consent is needed to add a course. Some instructors will allow students to join in weeks 2 and 3, but by that point, they will have missed several weeks of class and may not be able to catch up if trying to add last minute. This is why it is most ideal to make all schedule changes by the end of week 1 if possible. Students can drop a course from their record through My UChicago until the end of week 3. After week 3, drops are considered withdrawals and will show up as a W grade on the transcript. All students must be in 300 units minimum each quarter to remain an active student, as we do not allow part-time status in the college. For our incoming students, pre-registration for autumn courses takes place in the My U Chicago student portal. The portal will be open starting at 9 a.m. Chicago time on Monday the 18th and will remain open until 5 p.m. on Friday, August 22nd. During that window, you will select or bid, we use this terminology at U Chicago, bid on your top course options for autumn, and you will rank them by preference. After the 22nd, the algorithm will run and place you into courses based on availability. You will see your schedule on September 8th, and you will be able to make changes during a week if needed. Now over to Justin.
Yeah, thanks, Shayna. So now you understand a little bit about pre-registration, but step one into pre-registration is understanding your placement test results. So we're going to go over that. So how are you going to do that? You're going to log into your My U Chicago portal. We're going to say My U Chicago portal a lot. Get used to it. It's like your best friend. So once you're logged in, right in the middle of the homepage, you will see the welcome. And next to that is going to be test results. If you have any holds on your account here, this example doesn't show any, but if you did, this My Alerts box would be red. You want to check on that, clear up that hold. So check on that. In this example, you can also see two blue banners at the top that are providing updates on system maintenance and registration process. So please pay attention to this homepage. It's important information is displayed here that you don't want to ignore. You know, it says like the system's going to be down or something, make sure to check that. But yeah, once you've selected test results, at the top, you're going to see any AP scores or advanced placement scores that you've received and the placement exam results that you've got. So go into there, and in this example, you can see some example placements. By the way, UChicago, we have to often refer to courses with zeros at the end by just their first couple numbers. So like French 10300 would just be French 103, just a lot faster. Same thing with like Math 131 or Math 112 or Spanish 201. So just be mindful of that. So this example student has a score of 5 on their AP French exam. So with that score, the language competency requirement has also already been fulfilled for this student. But if they're interested in continuing with learning a language, they can choose to enroll in this French or Spanish course based on their placement. We encourage language learning at UChicago and embrace beginning, heritage speakers, or anyone who just wants to explore. So yeah. And for math, if this student were to select any other math course for pre-registration, the system would not allow the enrollment since the placement is on file. For math courses, you must enroll in your placement, or wait to discuss your results with the math department. So basically, you can't take any class that you haven't placed into for math or language. Some notes about test results and AP credits. For students that do not see any test results in their My U Chicago portal, some action might be needed. If you sent your scores or completed the exams prior to July 22nd, you should see some results posted. If you don't, it might be a problem. Get in touch with your academic advisor. If you took it between July 22nd and August 11th, so this last Monday, your scores will be posted by September 2nd, so in a couple weeks here. If you just took your exam or you have yet to complete the exam or submit your AP scores, please try to do this as soon as possible, at least by September 2nd, to have an impact on autumn quarter. Any exam taken after September 2nd, it's not going to be posted until like October 13th, which is way after the start of the school year, and it's going to be too late to impact your schedule for this upcoming autumn. So guys, send in those AP scores, take those placement tests as soon as you can if you haven't already, and at least before September 2nd. Placement results impact what courses you'll be allowed to register for. Like I mentioned earlier, you will be unable to register for a course if it doesn't match your placement on file. For example, if I got placed in a Chemistry 101, I cannot take Chemistry 111, which is a different class through the registration system, since that's a different placement. It's not the same class. This is true for courses with prerequisites, for example, CMS 141 and all that. So yeah, check your placements, guys. Finally, if you don't agree with your placement or feel like it's wrong, or you were doing the placement test and it got messed up or something, you're gonna have to talk with your academic advisor. You can get you in touch with someone from that respective academic department to update that. So basically, just get in touch with your academic advisor if you need help with your placements or understanding them. And yeah, that's about those placement test results. So now that you understand a little better, we can better prepare for pre-registration next week. So ideally, you would have met with your advisor by now. If you haven't, what are you doing? Please do so. You can write to them today and see if they have time to meet with you before end of next week. So please email them if you've not met with your advisor yet. You have to meet with your advisor before the first day of autumn quarter, later September, or a hold will be placed on your account, and that'll prevent you from doing the second phase of registration, which is add drop. If you're unable to participate in the pre-registration process next week for any reason, lack of internet, whatever, please inform your advisor and include information about email them information about what intended courses that you're thinking of. And yeah, to register for autumn, you'll need to identify courses of interest. So this starts with going into your My Chicago portal, clicking on My Classes. So obviously the portal is where you can find the placement test results too, so do that first. But then go to My Classes, and My Classes is the site where you can find all the information you need about the courses this upcoming autumn quarter. Class times, class dates, class locations, total seats available, how many class seats are available for the class. And you can also read about the course via the course description, get to know it more. You also see a course feedback button, which are student evaluations, read up more about any students who've taken the class previously, what they have to say about the class. So yeah, if you go into My Classes, this is an example of what it looks like. So this is an example. You see the course title. This is American Sign Language 1. You can see that the course code is ASL G101. This is specifically section 2, so 2 sections of this class. This section happens to be taught by Professor David Reinhardt, and the course meets from Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 11:30 a.m. to 12:20 p.m. from September 26th to December 9th. And it meets in Cobb Hall, room 111-5. You can also see the blue tag that says in person. So this obviously means that class is in person. We usually don't offer any remote classes during the regular academic year, only summer. So pretty much all your classes are going to be in person. You can also see a link to the course feedback. If nothing is showing up when you click this button, this course doesn't have any previous evaluations on file. But if it does, you should see a bunch of evaluations. There are many other things to know on this page, but for the sake of time, we must continue. I recommend you look up carefully at each screen, ask your advisor any follow-up questions you have. If you're not sure about anything, not sure about a class. Yeah, that's My Classes.
Thanks, Justin. And so we have many resources available for students to assist in the course selection process. All incoming students were added to our Advising Canvas course in July, and you should have received an email invite asking you to accept the invite to the course. Within the course, we have created modules that walk you through specific content. In our Preparing for Pre-Reg module, you will walk through the My Classes tutorial and learn how to identify courses of interest. In the core module, detailed information is provided about the core curriculum requirements, including a questionnaire where you will consider your personal preferences and a short quiz to test your core knowledge. In the summer meeting prep module, you will consider reasons students may opt for 3 versus 4 classes in their first quarter. And additionally, we have many navigation tutorial videos available on our YouTube page, including one on navigating the college catalog and department websites. So these QR codes on the right-hand side of the screen will provide a link to the Canvas site, the QR code at the top, and the QR at the bottom will take you to our YouTube page. And this recording will be available on the CPO YouTube as well. And now we will turn it over to Emily so we can see a live demo of the system that you all will be using next week.
All right, hi everyone. My name is Emily Ho. I'm the Associate University Registrar for Enrollment Services here at the University of Chicago. So what I will do for you today is just take you through a demo of what the site will look like when you go log on for pre-registration. We will hopefully answer most of the registration questions that have come up in the chat during this. But if not, we will be sure to answer them later and hopefully get to them. So when you first log into your My.U Chicago, you'll see a screen similar to this. Next Monday, you will see something on the right-hand side here that says Autumn Quarter Pre-Registration. If you click that link, it will take you out into the pre-registration screen. So the first screen that you're going to see when you log in is the first year survey. So these are questions that we are asking you prior to registering that will help inform your advisor a little bit more about what courses you want to take and what your schedule should look like. So there are some questions here asking if you're interested in a career in health professions, how many units you're intending to register for, what your areas of academic interest are, and if you end up being registered in HUMA 123, which is Human Being and Citizen, if you want to take the accompanying writing course in autumn quarter. So these questions, again, they're just information only. There's no right or wrong answer to this, and these aren't going to necessarily impact how resolution works. And these you can go back and change throughout the week too if you decide that you, or if anything changes or you change any interests. But once you have these questions submitted, you can hit next, and that will take you into the first year pre-registration screen. So there are kind of two steps to this. So the first thing that we're going to ask you to do is to rank the different categories of courses based on how much you would like to take that particular course during your first quarter. So we have a few general categories: social science, biological science, others, civ. And these you can rank depending again on how much you want it. If you know you want social sciences most out of anything, you can rank it 1. Say you want bio second most, you can rank that 2. Other can be 3. If you know that, for example, you definitely don't want to do civilization studies because you're going to do civ abroad, you can skip group. Same, let's say you don't want to do math. I'm sure advising is not happy that I said that, but you can skip the group there. The one group you're not going to be able to skip at all is the humanities core. Again, that's required for everyone, but go ahead and rank that depending on how much you want any particular course sequence. So we'll just skip those for now. So once you've ranked all those different buckets or skipped them, what you can do next is hit save and sort. So when you hit save and sort, that's going to reshuffle based on how you've ranked those categories. So when we went through, we can see here that we ranked social sciences number 1. And once you hit save and sort, that you've ranked social sciences number 1. And so what you can do now is this is where you're going to request the actual section of the course that you're hoping to take. So you're going to hit search here. And what will happen there is that will take you into a list of all the courses that fall under that category. And so here you can see the different courses. You can also see information such as the meeting time, instructor information, if available. Please note not all instructors will be listed depending on if we have that information at this time from the departments, and the section enrollment. So because the returning students have already done their pre-registration, some of these courses will have seats already taken. But you can see here how many seats are taken and how many available. So in this case, we see 6 out of 13 available. And so you can scroll here. Let's say that you want to do power and you like that 2 to 320. You can add that. It will ask, for sure, and then just hit yes. If you know that you really do want, say, this particular sequence and you want to increase your chances of getting that, you can request more and at different times. So let's say again, you want power, you're requesting one at 2 o'clock and one at Monday, Wednesday, 1:30. And here you can change which one you want higher. So this won't enroll you in 2 sections of power if you get into one, and then it won't enroll you in a second, but it will increase if say that first one is full by the time that the enrollment system gets to you, then it will look at your second choice. So one thing to point out here is, again, with humanities, because this is required, you are required to submit 8 requests for humanities core courses. We would recommend that you spread these requests out among different sequences, just to increase your chances of being placed into a humanities course during pre-registration resolution. So definitely rank the sequence you want the most as number 1. But we would advise against submitting, say, all 8 requests just for media aesthetics, because if that fills up, it's not going to place you in a HUME, and your advisor might not know what your backup option is. So we would, again, recommend putting something like, your first choice as number 1, but going and getting a few different choices from a few different sequences. I will note, I know this says consent required here. This will be removed before pre-registration. You do not need to obtain consent from a human in pre-registration. So as you're going through and doing these requests, you can hit save and sort, and that will save your requests and reshuffle the rankings based on how you've submitted them. You can also hit this summarized ranks button. And what this will do is this will give you a little more bit of a more legible view of what you've already requested. So you can see which social sciences sequences you've requested, which ones you still need to fill in, and what groups you've skipped. If you decide later on that you do want to take a group that you previously skipped, that's not a problem. You can just scroll down where they're all at the bottom, uncollapse. You do want to take Civ, add it in, hit save and sort, and then that will pop up with the other courses that you've requested, and you'll be able to search for those courses right there. You can also, from this screen, view your test results. Again, you just click the view test results button here, and that will take you into what test results you have available and what placements you have. So this will inform you what courses you should be requesting as far as ones that do require placement. So for example, if you have a placement into Physics 131, you should go ahead and request 131 if you're planning on taking physics. You shouldn't request a course that you don't have placement for. You do need the placement in order to be enrolled in that course. Once you finish your request, you can just go ahead and hit the submit button. This is going to error out because I didn't fill out all the humanities sections, but once you have all the required ones filled out and hit submit, that does it. That's your request. It will generate an email confirming that you hit submit and summarizing your choices. You can submit as many times as you want during pre-registration. So if you hit submit and then the next day decide that you want to add a course or maybe re-rank the ones in a different order, you can go back in, make those changes and hit submit. We'll just look at the most recent submission when we're going through and doing the pre-registration resolution process. So like Shana said before, it's not time sensitive. It doesn't matter how early in the week you submit it. And it doesn't matter if you want to go in and change and resubmit multiple times. We only look at the very last thing you submitted, and nothing is looked at until pre-registration is totally over. So that's the basic gist of it. Again, the first thing you're going to do is rank the entire groups based on what category of class you want to take the most. Once you rank the groups, you will then be able to go in and rank the specific sections of the course, again, ranked by which one you want the most, which one you want the least. And we would definitely recommend submitting a few different backups for times that you're interested in, or especially for Hume, a few different sequences in case your top choice gets filled up. But that, I think, covers most of it. So I will go ahead and throw it back over to Shana.
Thanks, Emily. And let me share my screen one more time. And we actually have Justin.
Yeah, thank you, Emily. Shout out, Emily. Appreciate that. We're almost ready for Q&As, but before we get there, some final reminders about key dates. Next week, Monday, first year pre-registration window will open at 9 a.m. Central Chicago time, and it's open until Friday at 5 p.m. Your schedule will be finalized sometime by September 8th, so hang on tight until there. So you may see some changes to your registration up until then. If you see a class like come and go, it's totally okay. But you should get your finalized schedule sometime September 8th. And then add drop will open on the first day of classes, which is Monday, September 29th. If you're a first year student, if you're a transfer student, it opens up on September 8th. We'll review this process during orientation week, so be aware of how to participate in add drops. Don't worry about it. And then you have until the Friday of the third week of the quarter, October 17th, to drop any classes. And yeah, those are all the key dates you should keep in mind of. And that leads us to the end of our presentation. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate your patience. I know the chat's going crazy here. Covered a lot of information. I'm sure there's many questions you have. You may have questions that are more specific to your own situation or placement results. So we'll try to avoid going into super depth. If you have any general questions, please let us know. Also follow us on Instagram if you have an Instagram. But yeah, Shayna, what questions do we have?
Lots of questions coming in, but a central theme is, can we register for classes that we don't have the placement for? Or I got a placement that I feel is a little bit higher than what I want to take. So the general answer to those types of questions is you should pre-register for the courses that you placed into. So the math department specifically will start meeting with incoming students on September 8th. So that is when you would be able to have a discussion with them to consider a change in your placement. So for the pre-registration, you should only select courses for which you have the placement on file. And then once you're able to speak with the math department, if they approve of your request, then they will be able to make that change because they have access to the registration system. That's the same with physics. So if you don't have an honors physics placement on file, you won't be able to get in through the pre-registration, but that doesn't mean you won't be allowed to take the course. It's just you have to have a conversation or communication with the department to express your interest and to get confirmation from them that they will allow you to do that. And you can work with your advisor related to all of that if you have questions. So that's placements in general. Let's see. Question about the advanced placement exams, which is a good one, or if there's any further higher level exam, math, computer science, chemistry, those exams are taking place soon or post pre-registration. So we won't have, theoretically, we won't have those results for the pre-registration. So we will make those changes later on if you are able to pass the higher level math exam or the chemistry and the computer science. So again, just pre-register for your placements on file, and we can make schedule changes later on. Justin, question for you. Why do some courses on my classes say students are already registered if first years haven't pre-registered yet?
Yeah, it's a great question, Chad. So yeah, I think we mentioned during the presentation that continuing students, second years, third years, fourth years, they've already done their registration. So you may see some classes got some students in them already or are already full. So yeah, just be mindful of that when registering. Make sure it's got open seats, says open. If it says closed and it's full, don't put that class because you won't get in.
Right. And if there's room when add drop, when you get access to add drop, that's when you'll be able to add that course. If it's currently closed, you won't be able to get in, but there's a lot of movement when add drop happens. So even if a course looks full right now, there's still a chance to get in for the autumn. Just depends on the timing with add drop. Question, there are some transfer students who are enrolled in the humanities course this summer. So there was a question about how do I skip the humanities bucket? So for those handful of students in that situation, we will be advising that the system will still require you to do that. So we recommend you put the humanities at the bottom. The system just won't allow you to skip it. So for those students, please put the humanities at the bottom of your registration. Emily, looks like there's a couple that you tagged on here that you wanted to answer, which we might have touched on.
Yeah, I think most of those were answered during the presentation. But let
Gotcha.
me-
Okay, question here, if we plan to take 3 courses, will the algorithm ever just give us 2? What would we do in that case? Justin, you or Emily, you want to take?
Yeah, I can take that one. So if you say you want 3 or 4 courses, the system will try its best to place you in 3 or 4 courses. However, depending on your bids and course availability, there is a chance that you could get placed through resolution in less than that number of courses. But this is something that advisors, I believe, are keeping an eye on, and will do their best to make sure that students are all in a full course load. Additionally, once add drop opens, you will also have the chance to add or into a course, or say you're in 4 and decide you want 3 to drop a course then. So again, if say every course you request is super popular or has a lot of time conflicts with what you're already registered for, it's possible that through pre-registration resolution, you will be in less than 3. But that will be fixed before you start. So I wouldn't stress about it too much, but it could happen.
Thanks, Emily. And I get, yeah, Justin, is it possible and or recommended to take non-core classes in the first year or in the first quarter specifically?
A great question, Shayna. So it'll kind of depend on your specific situation. Definitely talk with your advisor about it. So just keep in mind, not all classes are eligible for first years to pre-register for. So that's the first thing. Second, it'll just depend on your specific situation, degree plan. Like, yeah, a lot of students who are interested in economics, they may take Econ 100 Principles of Micro, and that's totally fine. So just in general, I'd say if you're pretty sure you want to do that major, you may have the option of jumping into specific major classes. If you're not sure, it's kind of just a good idea just to try to hit up some more of those core classes. Keep in mind also that the general recommendation is to complete as much of your core as possible within the first 2 years.
Right. And the electives or the major type courses are going to be under the other category within the pre-registration. So it is a bucket that you can consider when you're doing the pre-registration. So not just core courses available for pre-reg. We do have major type classes or general electives. We have some cool English classes. We've got, comparative human development, linguistics. So if you're excited and ready to jump into some of these new areas, you definitely can, but not required to do that. The questions are flooding in. I'm losing my place. There was a question about the humanities writing seminar. So for those who are not planning to take the human being and citizen where that writing 101 course is connected or related, the HUME 191 writing seminar, that's something that will get added to your schedule later. Typically, I want to say in week 1. So it's not something that you need to worry about. It doesn't have a time conflict with anything. So just kind of forget about that for now, and it will make its way on your schedule if you're doing one of the other humanities sequences. Emily, you got some more on here? Go for it.
Let's see.
Oh, sorry,
what
you're
one-
typing an answer.
Yeah, I'm typing a few.
Sorry.
Yeah, I can answer some of these out loud too
Okay.
if it's useful. I can, yeah, let me mark those as answer live. But one I'm typing to right now is somebody, and I think this came up a few times, asked, are you registering for the full year? And the answer is no, you are just registering for autumn quarter. So this is, again, autumn quarter only, and you'll have, we have another registration cycle later on for winter and then another one for spring. So this is just autumn quarter, so you'll have 2 other chances to take courses this year if you don't get them in the autumn.
Awesome. And there are some questions about AP scores. I know for some folks who requested the scores be sent, it didn't get sent until June 30th. So theoretically, you should see those on your account. So if you have any questions about why you're not seeing your AP scores or why you're not seeing your placement results, if you that guidance that Justin reviewed earlier, if you feel like they should be there and they're not, that would be reaching out to your advisor. We work with our another office on campus to kind of process those things. So making your advisor aware, and then we can follow up with the appropriate offices to see if there's an issue. There is a known delay for the Chinese heritage placement, so that should be coming. Not exactly sure when, but I think there was a question in the chat about that as well. That is the one placement result that has been taking a little bit of extra time. So more info to come on that. And yeah, so your language placements should be released if you have completed the exam on the timeline that Justin described. Do you see any on here, Justin, that are popping out?
Yeah, I see one with 4 upvotes. Let's see. We got William. He's asking, since there's so much space in humanities in certain math courses, would my ranking of these matter as much? Can I rank these lower without fear of not being placed? Emily or Sheena?
Yeah, good question. So it depends on your priorities, right? Theoretically, if humanities is lower, there's a higher chance that you might not get your most preferred. So it comes down to your individual priorities on what's most important to you in a schedule. So if you really want Greece and Rome and you just have to have that humanities, putting humanities in the #1 spot is going to make the most sense to get that top pick. Math, there's plenty of options for math. So that one is a little bit, again, up to your personal priority. If you are wanting honors calculus and you really want this particular instructor, maybe you put that in the #1. Same with the other category with the economics. If you are just, I really got to have that in my first quarter, maybe you put that in the #1. So there's still plenty of room, plenty of students get into an ideal schedule, even when the priority. So try not to think about it too much, but yeah, go with what's the biggest priorities for you and what you want to prioritize. Great question. Question in here about IB credits or exam scores. The IB scores will not be listed in the MyU Chicago at this time. So those, if you did receive credit, typically it's only for the higher level exams. Standard level exams for language will, if you receive a 5 or higher on a standard language or higher level language exam, that will fulfill the language competency. But those scores are not related to placement, at least for the language. So yeah, check in with your advisor if you have any questions about the IB exam results. But if you do receive credit based on the information that's in the catalog, those credits will be posted eventually. They just take a little bit longer, usually early autumn, I want to say we get those. When you rank classes, are you just ranking all of the classes you want to take, or do you do different rankings through similar courses? I think we kind of got that already, did that. Okay, so this question about if we wanted to enroll in multiple courses of the same topic, meaning 2 chem classes, how would we specify that during pre-reg? 2 chem classes, I'm not sure exactly which 2 chem classes you're thinking, but for molecular engineering comes to mind, right? We have a physics and a chemistry that some molecular engineering students will take. So that is something that you will put on your pre-registration of chemistry and physics. And then during the pre-registration process, so you would just specify that by submitting that on your pre-registration. So selecting both. I'm a little confused by the two chem. You can't really get into two chem 111. So maybe a follow-up question there, but selecting your courses of interest, putting them on the pre-registration is how you will identify what you're interested in. Okay, yeah, this kind of relates to that as well. Since math placements, some math placements are just for one course. So some of you may have received math 151 placement. Others may have received several math placements or invites. So if you are someone who just received one placement, or if you had many placements and you really only have one option that you want to pursue, you can select and rank the same math course, but different sections. So math 151, there's an 8 a.m., there's an 11 a.m. So you can select several different time slots that work with your schedule. And it is encouraged to have several on there just in case you can't get your top choice. So if you only rank one math and it gets full, then that would be a schedule change process later on to get a math. So by adding more, that will just give you more chances to get in through the pre-registration process. And Justin touched on this as well, but can I register for a physics sequence if I don't have physics results or a placement? So some of the courses have prerequisites. So for physics 131 particularly, if you look in the catalog, the prerequisite is completion of math 133 or placement in math 151. So that is probably why you're not seeing the physics placement result on your My U Chicago. So connect with your advisor if you have any questions about that. But yes, the placement result, you won't be able to register for physics without that placement on file.
I see a couple with a lot of upvotes here. So someone's asking, could you clarify the writing requirement and the gray and maroon track again?
Oh gosh. Yes, somewhat. I forget which one's which, but it's mainly a focus on the human being and citizen. So for students who are interested in the human and being and citizen humanities sequence, there is a additional writing component. We talked briefly about this in our core webinar. It is a newer thing going on at U Chicago. So if that is exciting to you, you're interested in being this, new cohort or this new U Chicago experience, consider the human being and citizen, which I believe is the gray track. Sorry if I'm getting them mixed up. But for everyone else who is not in the human being and citizen will be on the other track, whichever one that is. My apologies. What else? They just keep rolling in. Pre-registration is not first come, first serve, as we described. Everybody will be considered at the same time. Add drop is the first come, first serve. Oh, this is a good question about labs. Emily, you want to take this one about labs?
Yes. So as you know, and as you can see while you look through the course search, many of these science courses have lab or what we call activity components. You don't actually request the lab during pre-registration. You just request the lecture. And so what happens is when you request the lecture, when we're running the resolution engine, once it places you in the lecture, it then goes through and places you in a lab that works with your schedule. So you can't actually choose which specific lab. The system will try to place you in one that works best with your schedule. But if it is something where you need to change it later, that is something that you can change during add drop.
Awesome. Lots of upvotes on this one question, which I'm now lost. Where did it go? Oh yeah, so do I need to pay attention to the time slot for classes when ranking? If two classes conflict, how will that affect my pre-reg result? It is a confusing thing. I don't know if Emily, you probably have the best way to explain it, but
Yeah, so the system will not register you in courses that have a time conflict. If it's, meets at the exact same time, even if it overlaps only by 10 minutes, it won't register you in overlapping courses. So if, say, you submit all your bids for courses that meet Monday and Wednesday at 1 o'clock, you will get one course. Everything else will be read as a time conflict and it won't register you. That being said, you can still submit bids for courses that have a time conflict if you're using those courses as backup options. So I would say make sure that your top courses don't conflict with each other, that it's a viable schedule. But let's say, your top choice for HUME is Greek, Greek Lit, and you're requesting that Monday, Wednesday at 9 a.m. But say your backup choice would be readings in World Lit, you can request that at 9 a.m. as well. It won't put you in both in this case, but it will, if the first one's full, then it moves on to the next one. So the system will never register you in courses that conflict. So don't request all courses at the exact same meeting time, but it's okay to submit some time conflicts if you're using those as backup choices.
awesome. A couple on here. Let's see, what is the probability of placing into Econ 100 or intro computer science? Hard to say probability wise, but for Econ, there is a high likelihood this autumn. Currently, there are 2 sections that appear to be closed. But Emily, correct me if I'm wrong, those sections will be open for pre-registration on Monday.
Yes, that is correct. For the intro econ courses, the department is holding back some seats for first year students. So I believe there's a few sections that say 0 out of 0 in the seat count. Those, they will up the seat count. So those particular sections will be open for you to request.
Yep, so the econ department has specifically held those for first years. So they want you to be in there and plenty of room. So not necessarily have to put that bucket as the number one. Typically those sections are pretty large, like at least 100, I want to say, but maybe less. Don't hold me to that. And then for computer science as well, I don't know what the numbers look like right now, but it is possible to get into intro computer science. And if not, 141 is offered in the winter as well. So if you can't get in the autumn, we can try again for the winter. We're getting close. So if you have questions on here, upvote please, so we can prioritize. Would you recommend bidding on more than 4 subjects if you're intending to take 4 courses? Potentially, depends. Language particularly, some of those courses are a bit smaller, so the seats are fewer. So if language is one of the 4 that you're hoping to take, considering a backup just in case you can't get into language could be ideal. I think there's only 8 categories anyways, Emily, right? Or 6? Okay. So yeah, it doesn't hurt to have more subjects, but theoretically you could just do the 4 subjects.
I see one about math that I'll try and take. How can we differentiate between our 3 different math placements to decide what to choose? Let's say you got into 152, 161, 16110, or whatever. There's a lot of different numbers. So yeah, it can be a little confusing to decide what math class to take. Definitely have a conversation with your advisor, hit them up, email them. But yeah, those are all different math classes that you can place into, and it might vary on what major interests that you're interested in. For example, if you're like a science major, physics or chemistry, definitely maybe consider the 180 sequence. If you're a math major, it's maybe good to start in the honors calculus sequence, either 161 or 16110. So yeah, just talk with your advisor, read through the catalog more, and decide what major you're interested in, because that will impact what math class you might take.
Right, and the math placement webinar is available on the CPO YouTube as well. And that's really helpful to think about the different options. And that's hearing directly from the math department who know it all. There was one that had a lot of upvotes. Where did it go? Oh, are students automatically enrolled in the next class of the sequence in winter? It does depend on the sequence, but Emily.
Yeah, it depends on the course and the sequence, but for many of those year-long courses, most commonly things like social sciences, mathematical sciences, some of the language, those are what we call rollover courses. And so in those cases, if say you start in Math 131, for winter quarter, you'll be automatically rolled over to the winter quarter section of that same course. So if you're in 131 section 1, in winter quarter, you'll automatically be registered in 132 section 1. So for those courses that are year-long sequences, if they do they'll roll over as long as this section in the next quarter meets at the same date and time. This is something that departments usually keep an eye on. Not every year-long sequence is a rollover, but again, most of the core ones are. For those courses, you'll see the rollovers show up in your My.U Chicago student portal before winter quarter pre-reg opens, so you'll know in advance if you are already registered in those or if it's something that you would need to request.
Awesome. Any more popping out to you, Justin?
Yeah, I'll try and do a couple. Let me speed around here. Now math sections, do I have to pick an alternative math class just in case the math class I was placed into is full? Yeah, that would be a good idea. Just put a couple, at least I usually recommend putting at least a couple backups. Even if it looks like there's plenty of space in this one, just put one backup, it doesn't hurt. Because if you don't get into your first choice, the system goes, oh, is there a backup section? Is there a backup section after that? So it doesn't hurt. Put a couple backups, guys. It won't hurt you. Try to see ones with more upvotes. Yeah, if we don't get to your question, our apologies. Doing the best we can here. Just hit up your advisor after. They'll be to answer your questions here. I see another one. If I don't mind taking any course at any time, should I just bid for all the potential times for all 3 classes I want to take? What do you think, Shayna?
I don't, how many the system will let you? Sure. And you'll have flexibility with add drop. If you're open to anything, then that's great.
Yeah, here's a good one. I'm not sure if you covered this question, but how can I register for more than one course if it's in the same category of subject? For example, physical science.
Right, that is the one that's a little bit of a caveat. So really, it would mostly be molecular engineering students who are in this situation. Maybe potentially some other STEMI majors might be interested in taking 2 physical science in the autumn. But this is a system issue where you won't be able to get both through the pre-registration, but you'll work closely with your advisor if you've met with them already. And part of the questionnaire asks what's your intended program of studies. So by selecting molecular engineering on there and then selecting chemistry and physics, your advisor will know that you're interested in taking both of those, and you'll work together to make that happen. So if there is a physical science that is a stronger preference, so let's say you want to do honors chemistry and regular physics, maybe you want to put the honors chemistry at the top if you have a preferred instructor, but if you're open to any of the sections, it's not super important to have chemistry above physics. So hopefully that answers that.
I see a good one. Is it a problem if we only have 10 minutes in between classes? Should we check the locations of the class to decide? Yes, definitely check the location. Check out the campus map or even just Google Maps it. Like most of the classes are around the main quad area. You should be able to make it, but not every class. Like, for example, if you got a class all the way in the Logan Arts Center, which is the southern part of campus, and you got next class in Campus North, you're not going to make it. Unless you enjoy Usain Bolt sprinting to your class. Like, don't do that. Find another time. If there are some taking 4 classes and other taking 3, does that mean theoretically, if you keep taking 4, you could graduate early?
Theoretically, yes. If you take 4 every quarter, I mean, I think the most you could graduate is like 1 quarter early. If you took summer, maybe more, but yeah, taking 4 every quarter does theoretically make it easier to graduate early. Thinking way down the line. I like it. All righty, I think we are wrapping it up, folks. For the questions that we didn't get answered, please reach out to your advisor. If your advisor is unavailable or out of town next week, we do have our advisor on call program available. There is an email that's going to be coming out on Monday with a lot of links and helpful information, so check your email. And that is all. Thank you so much for attending, and good luck with the pre-registration process next week.